Good morning, students. Christmas is over and New Year is coming. I'm so happy. I want to dance like a peacock. Students, have you ever wondered why does the peacock dance? Yes, come on. Read the story along with me to find out. The peacock's performance. This happened a long time ago. Such a long time ago that people have quite forgotten that there ever was such a time when animals and birds, sea and river, and trees and rocks spoke to each other and moved about and laughed and wept and sang and danced. This story is about a peacock who was a great show off. He would spread out his gorgeous tail and strut among the peahens, crying, "Look at me! Aren't I a fine fellow? I am a dancer. Have you seen any other like me? As for you, you are so ordinary looking, so drab and colorless." Now, students, what does strut means? Walk in a proud way, trying to look important. And drab means dull, and gorgeous means very attractive. Now, let's continue reading. But the peahens were too busy pecking at grains on the earth or looking after their broods of pea chicks to spare him a second glance. Now, spare him a second glance means not bother to look at him more than once. And one peahen, who had got rather tired of his boasting, was quite rude. "Oh, go away," said she. "I have seen hundreds of peacocks and some with far finer, far more gorgeous tails than yours. Go away. We may be plain, but we have better things to do than stand here admiring your tail." Naturally, the peacock's feelings were hurt. He stalked away, his head in the air. Now, stalked away means walked in a stiff way because of anger. "I'll show her," he muttered to himself. And when he came to the hen house and saw the hens all clucking contentedly away as they pecked for their food, he cried, "Look at me, aren't I a fine fellow? As for you, you are so plain and ordinary looking." Then he added, "I could do a little dance for you, right here and now." And without waiting for an answer, he spread out his tail and did a few steps of a splendid dance before them. Now all of you turn the page. But to his surprise and disappointment, they paid him little attention and went on pecking away, and some did not even bother to look up. So he went off in a huff. Now, what does it mean when they use the phrase went off in a huff? It means walked off in a bad mood because he was angry and upset. And appreciate means to enjoy, and talent means the ability to do something well. Now, so let's continue. "Some people can't appreciate beauty and talent," he muttered. He had walked some distance when he saw above him a flock of cranes flying across the sky. "Look at me, look at me," he called out. "Look at my grand tail." And he would have danced a special grand dance for them, but they were gone even as he began his first step. So he walked on. Presently he heard
a sound of croaking and quacking, and gurgling and burbling, and he knew he had come to the waterside. Ah, he thought, here at last I will surely find someone who will admire my performance and my fine tail. He spread it out and shut his eyes and began to dance.
But here too he did no better than before. The fish and the tortoises, the water rats and the upside down bats, the moorhens and ducks and geese now went off in a huff means walked off in a bad mood because he was angry and upset. Appreciate means enjoy. Talent here means the ability to do something well. Now, can you see the picture? The peacock is dancing. All of you can color this picture in nice bright colors. Okay, now turn the page. And green water snakes who lived in these regions all were busy with their own lives to pay him any attention. And the peacock performed his dance by the waterside with his tail all a dazzle in the afternoon sunshine. All in vain, for he had no audience. Tut, 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 said the peacock. He was now very annoyed, but he swallowed his annoyance and said to himself, surely in this world I will find someone who will appreciate me and my grand performance. He danced away, showing off his tail and turning and twisting his green blue neck. But oh dear, no one took any notice at all. Harder and harder he danced, puffing and panting with all his might. He circled about on the tips of his toes. He hopped, skipped, and leaped about. But the creatures around him paid him not the slightest attention. They were all busy with their own businesses. The little squirrels were cracking their nuts, the sparrows were feeding their babies, the water rats were playing a game of catch, and the bats were asleep and dreaming. Nobody had the time to watch the grand performance. The peacock was furious. Now, what does all in a dazzle means? Shining brightly. And furious means very angry. All in vain, there was no result. This is dreadful, cried the peacock in a rage. Here's before them is a great performer performing, and they don't care. And it was just as he said this that he saw the cranes, the same ones he had seen earlier, alight and with folded wings landed by the water. They were breaking their journey, of course, and after they had quenched their thirst and refreshed themselves, they would fly away, for they had far to go. The peacock looked at the simple white plumage, and he couldn't help feel sorry for them. As he compared them with his own grand tail. Very ordinary common birds, he said to himself. And then a thought came to him. But maybe they can be of help. He thought hard, and then he went on. If they see me perform, they are sure to be happy. The more he thought about it, the more excited he became. Yes, yes, I will perform for them, and they will carry my name and fame to other lands. With that, he rose up and strutted across to them. With a bow, he introduced himself. I will perform a dance for you, he announced grandly. Such a dance as will surprise you. Now, breaking here means taking a short period of rest. Quenched means satisfied. Plumage means feathers covering the bird's body. Now all of you turn the page and fill you with delight and wonder. Just watch. The cranes were rather startled. Startled means surprised. And turned around to look at him. The peacock spread out his magnificent tail as he stood on the tips of his toes. He was about to start when the leader of the crane spoke. Thank you, good sir, squawked he, but we must rise up and be on our way. There is a grand performance going on in the sky, and we must not miss it. A performance in the sky? Croaked the peacock. What are you talking about? Now here startled means surprised. Squawked means cried loudly. He couldn't believe his ears, but the cranes had already risen up. He could hear their voices clearly, but growing fainter and fainter in the distance. We have no time to watch you, he heard them call. Up there we see around us as we fly. An astonishing performance that we cannot describe in words. We see the beauty of sunrise and sunset and the sparkle of millions of stars. Oh peacock, peacock, we have no time to remain there and watch you and your little dance. With open beak and tear-filled eyes, the poor peacock watched the cranes fly away. Soon they had quite disappeared. There's no one to watch me. There's no one to watch me, he cried. No one to watch my grand performance. He began to weep, full of pity for himself, and his tears fell fast. No audience, no audience, he sobbed. Nobody cares, nobody cares. He hid his head in his fine tail and howled. He howled and howled. For a whole day and night he howled. But of course, you can't cry forever. You have to stop sometimes and wipe away your tears. That's what the silly peacock did in the end. He wiped his tears and stood up. Then, who knows what happened? He spread out his tail and began to dance. Perhaps he couldn't help himself. He was a dancer, you see, and dancers, they say, can't help dancing. Audience or no audience. Na dinna dinna, na dinna dinna. He went on, out and in and out, and round and round about. Dilta tikta tikta tikta. And as he danced, suddenly he didn't care at all that he had no audience. He was dancing for himself. And yes, was he enjoying his performance? He surely was. From that day on, the peacock was found dancing joyfully to himself every day. He didn't care at all whether anyone was watching or not. He was a performer and he was the audience. And what could be better than that? So students, now you know why you see the peacock dancing in the jungle, isn't it? So this is the story how the peacock started dancing without an audience. So students, what is the lesson the peacock learned? The peacock learned the lesson not to expect anyone to please you or make you happy, but be happy and contented always. So now all of you grab your book, do the book exercises, and after that jump on your feet. We are going to dance and celebrate New Year. Yes, Happy New Year to each one of you. Do continue to read, write, learn, and
Thank you
study.
for the happiest year of my life.